Okay, dear brothers, we're learning about self-confidence, to believe in oneself. And we're learning that self-confidence really means I'm connected to the purity that's inside of me. That inside of me is something very much glowing, something very pure, something very good, something very essential. And about connecting to that place. And what's the thing that disassociates me from that place? It's called the nachash. It's very much glowing. The serpent is that energy. We were going through the different ideas of the serpent. The serpent is that energy that steals my personality, that robs me of who I really am. And self-confidence comes from being connected to the goodness and the purity that is I. And not in a haughty way, but just in an awareness. If I know that I'm good and pure, I feel very happy about myself. Whereas the Nachash wants to create all sorts of doubt. The Nachash is really Amalek, and Amalek is Gematria, Safek, doubt, and it's the thing that steals my personality and steals my awareness of who I am. And my job is to not be fooled and deceived by this voice inside of me called the Nachash that is essentially stealing my identity. Thank you, Yossa. Oh, I'm not sure if it has Rav Nosson in there, but it's good that everyone should have one of those also, and these are our gifts to all you guys. I see that JOHB is asking, what's the key to marrying a nice Beit Yaakov girl? You should learn a lot of Torah. Make sure to learn a lot of Torah, and to the degree that you purify yourself, you'll attract into your life a girl of purity. Motza min v'minay. A person will find what he is sending forth. The vibes that you're giving forth is the vibes that are going to come back. And if you still have any like Marilyn Manson t-shirts, might be the time to stop wearing them at least. I don't know if the Beis Yaakov girl is so into that vibe. Thank you for the question. Ubefrat Adam Harishon. So Adam Harishon, we're speaking about believing in oneself, and Adam Harishon was the essential being that lacked self-confidence. He lacked self-confidence so much so that he believed the snake over his own neshama, over his own inner voice. And he thought that the snake was going to give him something, but the snake is all about empty promises. It's interesting, the Zohar talks about that the snake is always trying to give you things for free. We spoke about this in a previous time. The snake always says it's free. You don't realize though, when something is free, they're cashing in on something else. Don't worry, it's free credit card, I promise. It's free. Free money. They're grabbing something else. It's the way of the Sitra Achra, of the snake, to try to get free things and to give you and offer you free things. So you have to be careful of that voice. So Adam Harishon, Befrat Adam Harishon, that he was the only person in the world. Shekol emunas chachamim shaloi haya toli bezeh, Befrat ki kol hapegam shel Adam Harishon haya al yidei chave ishtoi, shemitchila bo hanachash oleh be'arama. Amen. That the nachash, that the snake came to Chava. The snake came to Chava. He haiset sricha lahamin ba'odam harishon. She should have believed in her husband. Why was she trusting the snake? The snake said, trust me. If you eat from this, then you'll be like God. You could trust me. It's going to be good for you. You'll know good, you'll know evil. Why didn't she trust Adam Harishon, who said not to go near this thing? Which means Chava had a certain lack in emunas chachamim, and in trusting the tzaddik.
Maybe she did what she thought it was the best for also his husband.
So she thought that trusting the snake would be the best, and would be the best for Adam.
Also for him.
So she was trying to help Adam. How would she be helping Adam Harishon? How would Chava eating benefit Adam Harishon?
So he could have a bechira and he could gain.
Oh, so that's the deeper storyline, is that in fact, once darkness would be brought to the world and confusion would be brought to the world, your decisions will be even stronger because you're choosing light from darkness. So, in one way, she was right, but in another way, she was wrong because she went against Hashem. So this is a very deep storyline. Let's see as Rav Noson's taking us through this. You know, sometimes when it comes to should I be doing this, should I not be doing this, sometimes we just have to listen to our basic intuition that says Hashem doesn't want me to do this. Even though on the deeper storyline, yeah, but if I do this, it'll make me far and I'll get close. Those types of cheshbonos, in the simple sense, do you want somebody that is loyal to you or somebody that was disloyal and then did very intense things to show loyalty and then becomes a loyalist again? I'm not getting involved in this. I don't know really what's going on with this. But with Trump and Elon, we have no idea what's going on. You think you mamish know? Do we really know what's going on? So on the simple level, what do you want? Somebody who's loyal all the way through, or somebody who's, and then comes back and shows uber loyalty?
Second one.
So in some deep way, maybe so. Somebody went away from you and then they came back with even greater vigor. But on the simple, straightforward way of relationships, you want those that have been loyal to you the whole time, that have stood with you the whole time. In a relationship, a husband and wife, you want someone who's faithful all the way through. Even though someone who was maybe questionably faithful, but then came back, and maybe that made even a strengthening in the relationship. But on the simple level, you want pure loyalty. So here, when Hashem says, don't eat from the Eitz Hadas, on the simple glance, we should try to be loyal, straightforward. So did Chava have some mahalach here? It appears that she did. But at the end of the day, it wasn't so straight. It was snake-like. That's why the snake is called Arum. Even the way a snake moves, look at him, he's all crooked.
It's not the derech habenoni.
That's right, it's not the straight path. It's not the derech hamelech.
That's why he's gonna get punished, right? The Yetzer Hara, because he lies to you. Amen.
That's right.
Because he doesn't say things straight up. Like he tells you, no, this is the good thing, and you do it, and it was the bad. Like he lies.
He makes good things seem bad and bad things seem good.
It's interesting that the concept of free is that it wasn't worked for. It was like free good, but we know that bringing down like from Derech Hashem, at least my understanding of how the system works, Rabbi, is that we're trying to resemble Hashem, who is ultimately one and free to create whatever he wants whenever he wants to, and thus we are made in B'Tselem Elokim with an aspect of this free will. It's kind of unknowable to understand our free will. In essence, it's a direct godly attribute. And so when you get something for free, it was good, but it wasn't the ultimate good, because you have to be resembling Hashem, who's free to do whatever he wants and acquire what he wants. And if you get something for free, it's good, but it's not the best good. But that's the problem.
Doesn't resemble Hashem. So Chava understood this. This is the deeper storyline. Chava understood this. Adam Rishon understood this. Is that if I'm being given this good, nobody gave God his good. Nobody gave God his perfection. God's perfection is intrinsic. It flows. God is called the Baal Hashlemis, the master of his perfection. So by you choosing, especially in a world of darkness, you're acquiring good. You're becoming the master of your good, and so much so that when you're making real strong free will decisions in the face of a lot of darkness, you have earned that good to such a degree that you're a super, an uber free will master, and thereby becoming the Baal Hashlemis, resembling God. The Hanachash hichnes bo, and the Nachash put his venom inside of Chava. Ad shekafra boy v'loy hemina b'dvarav v'pogma be'emunus chacham alidei zeh. Because the venom of the Nachash went in, so what happened then? Then Chava didn't see things straight with Adam Rishon. וניסוסה לדברי הנחש ואחר כך גרמה עד שהכניסה כפירס גם בלב אדם הראשון בעצמי. So there's a venom happening here that was going into Chava, and now Adam Rishon is ingesting this venom. Shenofel b'daitoi v'loi himin ba'atzmai. Oh, and then Adam doesn't believe in himself. Once the venom of the Nachash comes in, it's floating around his brain, and he does not believe in his own self.
Interesting.
We're happy for the Chevra around the world to share where they're writing from and provide thoughts.
The Nachash bit Adam or the apple?
Nachash bit is a gentle way of saying put in
Oh.
in a more intimate way.
Oy vavoy.
Yeah, oy vavoy is right. Like Yankov said.
Didn't know that was the case, right?
Yeah, right?
Right.
First time I told people that, Bilam and the donkey, they're like, no. What do you mean? Like,
It was the lowest point of Tuma. He could send the klalot, right?
and then when he's hitting the donkey and the donkey's trying to avoid him from going in a bad way to curse the Jewish people,
Yeah.
so all of a sudden the donkey starts talking, and Bilam is like, and the donkey's like, why are you hitting me? Like, I've been so good to you.
Was there
How
really
would you do to me after everything we...
Was there really an apple that was eaten, or that there wasn't?
Well, there is a discussion actually what the fruit was. There is a medrash that it was an apple,
Bread.
but the more common elucidation of it, it was either a fig. We also see that because all of a sudden they dress themselves in fig leaves, which means they're trying to use the very thing that they sinned with to fix the problem. It's also practical. It seems it was right there. Another opinion that it was grapes, it was wine, which makes a lot of sense. That exactly in that substance, a person with Eitz Hadas Toivara, wine could take you to a great place, but it could take you to a horrible place. That's right, like Noach.
It's interesting how if there were fig leaves, like comparing it to like the Nachash from last week's parasha, Kuchos, as far as the copper snake, how it was like the thing that
Healed,
Yeah.
exactly through the thing where you are struggling and you could become healed
Paraduma.
by that thing, the paraduma. Another opinion is that it's wheat. The Gemara in Kesubah says that wheat used to be the size of kidneys, one single wheat berry, and that they were loaves of bread.
Amotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amotzi lechem min haaretz. And there's another opinion that it was an esrog. Let's go.
Interesting.
Etrog. And that's what you're doing on Sukkot. You're fixing, that's why on Tu B'Shvat you daven for your esrog on Sukkot, and then on Sukkot you shake the esrog, you elevate the energy of the esrog, and then you candy it, and then you eat the esrog, the jelly of the esrog that you shook on Sukkot. So you make a shechianu on the esrog. You haven't had that fruit in a while? No, because you already made a shechianu when you shook the esrog on Sukkot. So when you eat that esrog, there's no more shechianu. You already made a shechianu. A little bit of halacha seder in the middle of Rav Nosson.
Now I remember the etrog.
Okay.
halacha within Likutei halachot.
That's right. It's filled with halachas. You can't separate the inner dimension of Torah without halacha. Shenofel b'dayta v'loi himin be'atzmei be'oitzem koyach u'ma'alosai. So when the snake put the venom into Adam became very confused and didn't understand how powerful he is, how powerful his neshama is. Shahaisa gevoye v'niskava me'oid. Adam Rishon's neshama was super powerful. Ad she'ochel me'etz hadas toivara. So he ate from the eitz hadas. He didn't believe in himself, and he was seduced into it. Sheme'az nimshal zumas hanachash. Shemisham kol ha'pegomim shel ha'doros ha'koidmin dor ha'mabel v'dor ha'floga. Shemisham nimshal golos mitzrayim ki yudua. Look at that. From that pegam, from that moment of Adam eating from the Eitz Hadas, came all the problems of the flood, the generation of the flood, all the contamination of the generation of the flood, all the contamination of the generation of the Dor HaFloga, where all of humanity rebelled against God, unified and built the Tower of Babylon. And all of that came down into the exile into Egypt. the kol pegame adoris haya alde pegam emunus chacham, which all stemmed back to Adam not believing in himself, in the power of his own neshama. K'maisha kosav lo yifne derech kuramin k'mavor b'mokom acher. So now says the Rebbe, Val kein haya ikra pegam shel odom rishon al de achila. It's interesting. Where was the main disbelief embodied? It was embodied in a type of eating, which is fascinating. The problem started with some eating issue. I mean, it could have been something else. Why weren't they like playing checkers and all the problems started? Why couldn't it be that they were singing a song when the problem started? It was something to do with eating. Why was it eating? It goes back to the Torah, because remember we said anybody who doesn't connect to the Chachamim, he's going to be judged with moisrus. He's going to be judged with undigested food energy, i.e. the rejected matter. Just like a person has undigested food, the undigested food goes up and starts messing with his brain. So Adam ate the Eitz Hadas Toivara, and it was not digested properly. It's interesting, the Rambam, when he talks about health and well-being, speaks about really making sure that your digestive system is working properly, that you're digesting your food properly, you're going to the bathroom properly, that your bowels are moving properly. Why does he put that in his halacha sefer?
He says, we need to drink water like after we eat, not during.
That's right. Otherwise, it makes too much water in there, and foods are not going to be digested properly. It could water down the nutrients, water down the digestive acids.
He's a doctor.
He was a doctor. So why does the Rambam make such a focus on digestion? And basically says that all health problems happen if you're not digesting properly. Because if you're not digesting properly, what happens? You're going to have the Ashanim Sruchim. You're going to have all the problems coming into the...
It's one of our 5 parts of the soul. It's in the stomach. I think it was the most elevated one, maybe.
The stomach is a very powerful place.
It was like...
It's like the second brain. I have a gut feeling about this.
What Avera is stomach pain linked to?
It says that tzaddikim have challenges with their stomach because the stomach is a place where you're digesting. And the tzaddikim understand that they're not just digesting food, they're trying to digest reality. And they feel reality so much, so they're trying to digest all of the challenges in the world and all the toivara. They're literally trying to move it through their body. And it's a very big thing to try to digest properly, because if you're not digesting properly, what happens? Do you ever feel good when you have like that indigestion thing going on? And what happens? Ashanim Sruchim, it makes fragrance, and that goes up to the brain, and you don't feel clear. Your brain is not thinking clearly. So that's what's happening here, is that Adam ate in such a way that was not a well-digested way.
You taught us the Kabbalah of having nice dreams. You shouldn't eat or drink anything a couple hours before.
That's right. We see it from Derech Hashem.
Yeah.
Make sure that you don't eat or drink too close to bedtime.
No lafra shawarma.
No shawarma lafa with all the sauces. And the Derech Hashem points these out and
Also
names
water?
names. Eggs, heavy foods, spicy foods, because they can make also Hashanim Sruchim, all sorts of stuff that goes onto the brain, and you're not settled. You're not settled.
So why is it's a good sign to die from a stomach issue? Like we're studying Ketubot, and it says it's a good ziman that the tzaddik dies because something in the stomach.
Tzaddikim have this because they're trying to digest so much. They're trying to digest the whole world. So just it overwhelms them. It's hard. We should try our best.
But why is it a good sign? Like because of that?
They're tapped in. They're tapped into the reality. But it's not an easy thing to have to go through that. So let's see for a few more minutes. Val kain his hiru Hashem yisborach al zeh shelo yochal me'etz hadashi bechinas achila kazois. שעל יודם מסורבה המויסרס פאויל המויח והוא פגם בזה בעצמו שפוגם בבחינס אמונס חכמים ואוכל אכילה זויס של עץ הדס טוב ורע ואז תקף נמשך בלבול הדס באוילם. When Adam ate, immediately he had confusion. That confusion then pressed into all of humanity. Humanity became confused through that original eating of Eitz Hadas Tov V'Ra. Look at that. And that's when death came into the world. When Adam ate from Eitz Hadas, he became identified with the Nachash, which means identified with physical consciousness being finite consciousness, and that allowed now death to be able to proliferate in the world. If Adam had not eaten from Eitz Hadas, he would have lived forever. He would have had children. The Derech Hashem speaks all this out, and his children would have had children, and that would have been Mashiach, and that would have been it. That would have been the end of the story. And we'd have just gone from Tov to more Tov. Hamavdil ben Kodesh to Kodesh. Just higher Havdalahs of Kodesh to Kodesh. But now, after eating from Eitz Hadas, now we're Hamavdil ben Kodesh l'chol, which is a much bigger separation. To go from Kodesh to Chol, and Chol to Kodesh. Every time you make Kiddush, you go from Chol to Kodesh. When you make Havdalah, you go from Kodesh to Chol. So Adam, it would have been just Kodesh to Kodesh, non-stop, which what the Arizal says, the mikveh of Shabbos Kodesh day. The mikveh of Erev Shabbos is you're going from Chol to Kodesh. It's like making Kiddush, you're going to the mikveh. But on Shabbos day, it's Kodesh to Kodesh. It's just a higher darg of Kodesh. They say, Oilus Shabbos b'Shabbato, like we say in the Tefillah. The aliyah of Shabbos on Shabbos. Oilus Shabbos b'Shabbato.
As far as the Shabbos day mikvah goes, air dry?
You can pat. You can pat. You can pat with the towel.
It's a question for mikvah use in general, but how to dry.
Correct. It is a question in general. Some people
Doesn't dry at all.
because they want. There is such a kedusha of the water, but if you feel that you want a rinse off afterwards, total respect to that, and a soap and a shower afterwards, total respect. If you're in a spring, totally pure, pristine spring, just pumping with negative ions, and I could hear just a non rinse off afterwards. Yeah,
This
Jeremy?
Rav Meir Eliyahu, he lives here somewhere in Israel. I listen to him on YouTube sometimes, and he's talking. I think he quoted the Ben Ish Chai, who said that if you leave one part of your body not wiped off or dried off, then that can sort of count as if you left
For the whole body.
Yeah.
My left earlobe. Okay, so Rabbi saying, what did we see today? And we'll open it up. There's Chevra here all over the world. If they want to ask questions, we're happy to hear from the Chevra. It's always beautiful when people write where they're writing from. And B'siyata D'Shmaya. So, Instagram at Jeff S. Hyde. Separation only occurs to align with harmony. Unity occurs in harmony. It's a very beautiful thought that, yes, there is separation, and that's what happened to Chava, and that now there's a choice to come into harmony. So that's a very beautiful opportunity now. It would have been good if we stayed in harmony, because Hashem wanted us to do that, but now that there was a separation, so it is a very beautiful thing to return back into harmony. That's like Torah Chav Gimel Chav Dal, coming out of the circle and coming into the circle.
Shabbos Chazon.
That's right. So iconic Todd G. Goldfinger, God bless you all, happy face, Baruch Hashem, wrote, thou shalt not kill, use it or lose it, Baruch Hashem. I think the BH is Baruch Hashem there. So yes, that is a commandment, one of the 10 commandments, and we believe that that's one of the 3 that a person is never allowed to do. If somebody says, kill this person, or I'll kill you, then you have to take the bullet. Those are what's called Yaharg Val Yavor. The other 2 are not having illicit relations and not serving idols. Thank you for the comment.
It's only in Tzina, right? Those three. Like, if it's in public, you should die, right? Like,
Of course you should die, even in Sinna. You have to die.
No. This three in Tzina, but if it's in public, like every Abarah.
That's right. If it's in public or Shas or Shmad, if there's a persecution against the entire Jewish people, even for minor things, then a person would have to give their life. What's the idea of giving your life? The idea is that following God's will is even more precious to me than my physical life. It's a statement of that. In other mitzvahs, Hashem says, Chai behem, you should live. Somebody says, eat this BLT, and the B doesn't stand for baked. The B stands for something else. Eat this sandwich, or so eat the sandwich. Eat the sandwich. Hashem says, Chai behem, you should live in the mitzvahs and not die in them. But when it comes to the big three, then and Rabbi Akiva said he waited his whole life to die al Kiddush Hashem. Now, Rabbi Noach Weinberg would say, so find out what you're willing to die for and then live for it. Live for it. People say they want to go in style. Well, live for it. It's much harder to live for it. But yes, if that ultimate ultimatum comes of convert or die, so then bow down to the idol or die. So following God's will is more precious to us, and that will be for eternity, than my temporary physical body. So the whole picture is asking, how do we keep the main thing the main thing? We keep the main thing by connecting to tzaddikim. Make sure to learn Torah. It helps going to the mikveh. It really does. The mikveh washes away all misfocus. Say as much Tehillim as possible. Connect to the midot of David HaMelech. Shachris, the most important meal of the day. Make sure to have a good Shachris plan. The Ashby clan, how do you match God's standards of holiness? So the answer is that God says, I want you to mirror me as much as you can. Ma'ani rachum, afata rachum. Just like I'm compassionate, you should be compassionate. It will never be the level, but you're going to be working on becoming more compassionate throughout the course of your entire life. So you just have to start somewhere. Just like God is kind, you should be kind. So look at God's character traits, start to match them. There's a very important sefer called Tomar Devora, the palm tree of Deborah. And that is a sefer, it's a Kabbalah book, but it's written in a very much a relatable way, which is how to mirror the 13 attributes of God. And it's actually a sefer that's taken on by many people in the month of Elul, that they read this sefer, and you start to learn to be like God. To be like God.
The mitzvah to be holy, as Shem gives us, because he says he's holy.
That's right.
What's it called?
Tomer Devora, Deborah's palm tree. So Danny Birch had a poignant dream and stopped eating land animals to sanctify my body. Also stopped cutting my hair and beard. There seems to be points here that seem to resemble a nazir. You are allowed to eat kosher land animals. You do not have to. For a Jew, there is, even for a vegetarian, a certain amount of meat that's required to eat, and that's 1 kazayas of meat a year, 1 olive-sized meat a year. That's called the Korban Pesach. And that is a requirement even for a vegetarian, but the rest of the year you do not have to have meat. And as far as cutting off hair and beard, so that seems to be connected to a Nazirite practice. I'm interested more in the poignant dream that you speak about. Yuzharav Raman, of course, any innocents that are killed, we feel tremendously bad for. We're all about life. We want to see life, and we want to see life for all. So what's the truth is asking about America's 250th year anniversary. It's amazing, you know, America's an amazing place. Rav Moshe Feinstein said that America is what's called Medinat HaChesed. It's called the country of kindness. It's been so kind to us. It's been so kind. We have such a tremendous love and a tremendous honor for the United States of America. It's a place that through the Constitution, which is a righteous document that outlines the seventh of the laws for the Noahides, that you should establish courts and justice, and we consider that a righteous activity of setting up courts of justice, and upholding the Constitution is of great merit, and keeping in alignment with God's plan that the nations of the world should run with justice. And therefore, yes, it's exciting, 250 years, also on Trump's birthday, and the time mentioned in Sefer Daniel to be the redemption. What's the truth? As your name implies, we will see if that in fact does coincide with the mamish redemption. We will see. I hope the redemption will be Hayom. Thank you for the question. Ziomara Vega Music, thank you for your exciting Hallelujah and Shema. Shema is very important to say. Shema is 6 words of absolutely proclaiming God's unity in the world, which also relates to the 7 Noahide laws of not blaspheming God's name. And thereby, by saying Shema, you're connecting yourself to a godly consciousness. And thank you for the comment. Okay, our last few moments here. It's always a pleasure when people write where they're writing from. Sam is asking, what verse in the Torah is about the long hair on the sides and meaning? Is he talking about me? So, as far as long hair on the sides, so the Torah says, "Lo yisakifu pe'as roshcha," you shall not round off the corners of your head. So the simple Torah prohibition, it's one of the 613, is to not cut the sides of your hair. So we understand it doesn't just mean to not cut them, it means that every mitzvah in the Torah has something called Zei Keli Vanveyu, beautifying it. If God was telling you not to cut the sides, we understood that that didn't just mean don't cut it, but God was implying that there's a way that just like you could beautify the mitzvah of your tefillin, you can get basic tefillin or more beautiful tefillin. You can get a simple Sefer Torah or more beautiful Sefer Torah. You can get a simple etrog or a more beautiful esrog. That every single one of the mitzvahs can be beautified. You can get a simple menorah or a beautiful menorah, silver, gold. You can get a simple Kiddush cup, or you can get a gold, mamnish, gorgeous filigree Kiddush cup. That's all called Zei Keli Vanveyu. It's a mitzvah that I'm beautifying. So too, when it comes to the sides of the hair, there's a beautification. And therefore, somebody one time asked me like who my barber was. I said, Hashem. Like where'd you get your cut from? Like who, which style? I opened up GQ. I didn't exactly see any anybody going like that yet. So I said, like where'd you get that? I said, just Hashem said. So like that, he gave me my style. What can I say? So thank you for the question. I hope that was helpful.
Isn't there also an Indian that, like, when it comes to the corner of your fields, to like sort of leave?
Yes, there's an idea of the corners of the head related to the corners of the field. The corners of the field is an idea of I'm giving forth blessing. So the payas are an idea. It's like blessing is going forth. That gets into more Kabbalistic topics, which we can go into another time. And I was just trying to give the simple meaning first.
We're giving bracha to the oil.
So Bitcoin mining, 110,000 boys. Without that law, there are no laws. So if by that comment you mean that we believe in objective reality that God gave us through the Torah, then yes, is that we have a law. Otherwise, everything is just subjective. So thank you for the comment. I hope that's what your thoughts were.
This is YouTube, Rabbi?
Thank you from writing from Tennessee. Siyata Deshmaya. We're getting all sorts of positive vibes for the Payas here. Okay, my friends, a pleasure to grow together, a pleasure to learn together. We have our shir upstairs. We should be Zaycha Mamish to believe in ourselves, like Rabbi Nassim's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow. We should be Zaycha Mamish to know that the Torah is here to build us up in such an amazing way. And what's the truth? Thank you for the Payas power. Much appreciated. We should be Zaycha to all the brachas of the Torah. We should be Zaycha to all Simcha, to grow together. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And looking forward to addressing and getting into much more details in our learning together. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Kol Tuv. All the best.